Hey y'all, it's Hunter Elliott with rangehot.com. This afternoon I've got the lovely Candy Sugarman from the Gunpowder Gals out here, and she's helping me out with what we're fixing to do. So it was about not quite 2 weeks ago that I published a review on the Shadow Systems MR920 Combat and Elite models. And then since then, I've got a lot of messages saying, hey Hunter, it's very comparable to the Glock 19. All the aftermarket parts jive, the holsters fit, this, that, and the other. However, you know, MSRP on the Glock 19 Gen 4 is $559. MSRP on the MR920 Combat starts around $799. So you're like, I'm spending almost $250 difference between those two guns. Now, that's MSRP stuff, y'all. You know, street price is probably going to be a lot different than that, but just ballpark. And so there's like, why? You know, can you give me a little bit better comparison to the Glock 19? So Candy has actually probably got at least as much, but probably more experience with the Gen 4 Glock 19. And she did a lot of the heavy lifting on the MR920 review, so she's got a lot of experience with this pistol as well. So I thought she and I could do a little dialogue here and talk about the differences. Then you can make your mind up whether you think it's worth an extra couple $100 or so between the two guns. So I'll start out with you, Candy. You've taught a lot of people how to shoot with the Glock.
Yes. So just to, of course, it is clear.
Oh yeah, yep. Both guns, the mags are out, right. Chambers are empty.
So yes, I have used this gun quite a bit for firearms training. I've shown a lot of women how to shoot with this particular gun. I just want to be clear, I am not a Glock enthusiast. It's not that I don't hate Glocks. Glocks are good, solid, reliable guns. I'm just not I'm not the Glock fan. I know there's plenty of you out there, that's great for you, but it's not my go-to gun. So I kind of view it as a good standard, something solid, something reliable.
Very, very utilitarian.
Absolutely. So when I did, again, we showed this one clear, the Shadow system, the first thing I noticed was the difference in weight. I mean, there is a remarkable difference in weight, and I know Hunter is going to go and tell you about the actual numbers.
Sure. Oh, you want me to do that now?
Why don't you?
Okay. So this weight's unloaded. The Gen 4 Glock 19 weighs 24.83 ounces according to Glock, whereas the Shadow Systems pistol comes in at 20 ounces. So you've got almost 5 ounces of difference, which is almost a third of a pound, which doesn't seem like a whole lot.
But it is quite a bit. I mean, again, when you pick it up, you're going to go, wow, this gun is a lot lighter. Now, I do not conceal carry the Glock 19. It's just way too big for my body, so I wouldn't conceal carry this. But for those of you who want to conceal carry a Glock 19 or a gun that is comparable, you're going to notice that weight.
Sure.
And if you, and again, I train mostly women, so if you are someone who is shooting and you maybe don't have that forearm strength, let me tell you, that weight difference is significant, and it does show up when you're running magazine after magazine on it.
The first thing that I noticed when I picked up the Shadow Systems is the sights. It's got really nice Ameriglow front night sight that also glows bright green and bright light, as well as just a plain Jane serrated rear sight. Now these sights are metal, and it is a single dot setup. Now also as an option, you have the universal optics mount here on the Shadow Systems that we talked about in depth as well in the review. Whereas, you know, you buy the Glock, you pull it out of the box, factory Glock sights are plastic 3-dot. And I do not really care for the 3-dot setup. I do not care for the plastic sights. But on a defensive handgun, I want a single dot, and it being a bright night sight, that's great in bright light and low light conditions. So for me, you know, if you're going to buy this gun and send it off to have these kind of Ameriglow sights on it, that's probably another $100 to $150 right there just for sights.
Right.
In my opinion, the very heart of a gun is the sights.
Right.
And that's going to be based on how well you can shoot it, of course coupled with ergonomics and trigger pull, but the very most important thing in my mind is the sights. Now, I did notice the weight. The Shadow Systems is a lighter pistol. The MR920 Combat is the model we're talking about. It is a lighter pistol. It feels like it's a little bit easier to shoot. Now the Glock, it's kind of stippled, you know, on your grip area here, it's stippled. The front strap, the back strap is all nicely stippled. That's fine. The combat model here is very aggressively stippled on the grip area, the front strap and the rear strap. Not so bad where it was bothersome to my hands, but definitely a lot more noticeable. Now you've also got this dual undercut trigger guard, and it allows you to get a little bit more aggressive grip with the gun. But I think what really sets them apart is you've got an area here on the receiver, just here on the bottom here and here. And it not only is it textured, but there's a little lip there. So as you can see, when I go to get the gun, I've got my handgun here, it's clear. I get my support thumb and I can press it into that ledge, and that's really gonna help me mitigate some of that recoil over the Glock that a lot of people buy and they send off to have stippled and serrated and all that sort of stuff.
All right, so one of the other things, so again, I train mostly women. At this point, maybe 400 or 500 women easily that I have trained, and one of the things that they consistently have an issue with is racking the slide. Now I can usually train them how to do it, but I also have women who just don't have the forearm strength, they have arthritis, whatever it is, and let me tell you, this, easy peasy to rack. I mean, and that is so important.
And you feel like it's easier than the Glock 19?
Yes, now the Glock 19 isn't that difficult to rack, but there is a difference. If you do them one after the other, this one just takes a little bit more effort than that. Now, again, if you're a man and you're like, hey, that's not a big deal, that's fine. But if you are looking to buy a firearm for the female in your life, being able to rack it easier is worth a lot.
And Candy, talking about racking, now with your Glock, you've got your standard, just straight cocking serrations, which are fine. They're very...
Standard.
They're standard, they work. But with the Shadow Systems pistol, you do have forward and rear cocking serrations. They are slanted and they are a little more aggressive, as well as you've got a pretty nice little ledge here at the front. So you've got more options with a little bit more aggressive cocking serrations than the Glock. But when I hold the Shadow Systems pistol and then I'll set it down and I immediately pick up the Glock, I feel like the grip area is a little more rotund. It's a little fatter.
Yeah, it is thicker. And so if you don't necessarily have a big hand, that's going to make a difference for you.
So you're sending your box stock Glock off that you paid, $525 for, whatever, and you're having new sights on, you're having stippling done, you're having a lot of the receiver cut, and now you've spent, $250.
Yep.
You want to change the trigger. The box stock Glock trigger is 5.5, 6 pounds, where your box stock Shadow Systems MR920 trigger is 4, 4.25. So it's a lot better trigger. Now you've spent $300, $350 on getting all your updates done, and so now you've got $850, $900 in your Glock 19.
Right.
Whereas $799 MSRP starting out on these combats. Everything is already done, plus maybe some things you wouldn't have thought about. Now, with that said, if there's something on the Shadow Systems that you didn't like, you're like, well, I don't like this magazine release, or I don't like this slide stop. All the Gen 4 and Gen 3 Glock aftermarket parts that would work on this pistol will also work on this. So that's really about it, y'all. I mean, it's only a handful of things, but those handful of things are important.
Yes, absolutely.
And they would be, relatively speaking, they would be expensive upgrades. So I did do the review, like I said, on the Shadow Systems MR920 Combat and Elite. If you're curious about that, you got any more questions, I'm going to provide a link below that links to that article. If you like the video, please subscribe. We do everything for rangehot.com, but I host all my videos on YouTube, and we do get some traffic from YouTube. So if you like the video, give me the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Always remember that I've got a lot of written articles on rangehot.com. This is going to be kind of like a part 2 for the article. So I'm going to host this video on the Shadow Systems review itself. Candy with the Gunpowder Gals.
Yes.
She's got a Facebook page. She does a lot with training, but primarily women.
Yes, yes. Couple of guys have hired me in order to do firearms training, but my bread and butter is women.
And she got me pointed in the right direction when she took me out shooting trap and sporting clays. And so Candy does a lot for the firearms community, the Gunpowder Gals. She's a gem. She helps us a lot at rangehot.com getting these guns squared away. So we appreciate that. So really, y'all, that's about all I got. Couple little changes: weight, sights, trigger, cocking serrations. All those little things, they add up to be a lot.
Yes.
Is it enough for you to justify buying the pistol? That's up to you. You might have bought a box stock Glock and love it and don't want to change nothing, and that's fine. That's fine, but you know, the variety is the spice of life.
Absolutely.
That's about all I got.
That's it.
I want you to take care of yourselves and each other, and I look forward to seeing you at the range.